What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing an insane submission from Tangy Platypus in the Open Master League, and I'm sure the majority of you watching don't even play in the Master League, especially when you have the choice of all three Open Leagues, but I don't think you need to be a Master League player to appreciate how crazy this team is. Now in the Master League, Fairies absolutely dominate the meta, so this trainer decided to bring a level 50 Hundo Tentacruel and a level 50 Hundo Ferrothorn to absolutely wall some of the most common Fairy types, including Primarina, one of the best budget picks after its recent community day. What's even more insane is that these aren't low elo battles, these were done well above legend elo, which makes it even more impressive. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Which Pokemon do you think would be an incredibly strong core breaker in the current Master League meta if it had a slightly higher stat product? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, leading Yveltal into Kyogre. So this is a fairly neutral matchup. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into Primarina, and we are going to hard punish them right off the bat with the Ferrothorn. And you can see Primarina doesn't even have the highest stat product, but it's still got 1000 CP on the Ferrothorn, which means Power Whip doesn't get the KO, but that might be even better for us. The opponent goes for the Hydro Cannon. Now we can go for a huge Bullet Seed farm down, and we're going to come out with 100 energy and minimal HP. So if they do have a hard answer, they're not getting a huge farm, but they actually come back in with Kyogre. What on earth have they got in the back? We go for the Power Whip. Power Whip actually does less than 50% to the Kyogre because of the huge stat product difference, but either way, the opponent going to fully sacrifice the Kyogre, come in with Togekiss, but it does not matter as we have a second super strong answer to Fairies in the form of Tentacruel, so the opponent just concedes the match. Into next battle, we see Tapu Bulu in the lead now. Of all the Fairy type Pokemon, this is definitely the most comfortable for Yveltal because we do resist the Bullet Seed damage, but we're still able to swap, make a catch on the Nature's Madness, and the opponent's going to come in with their own Yveltal. Now, unfortunately, this is where you're going to see a huge difference in stat product, means 2 Flash Cannons not going to come anywhere near enough damage to take out Yveltal, so they can commit to a huge Sucker Punch farm down. Definitely not ideal for us. I think even if we were running Thunder, probably 2 Thunders wouldn't quite get the KO either, but either way, we can come in with our Yveltal. It's still going to be a very uncomfortable Sucker Punch farm down for the Yveltal here, so we're going to shield up the Oblivion Wing. The opponent's going to swap back into Tapu Bulu, but they go for the Bullet Seed there. They don't throw the Charge Move straight away, meaning we can go for Oblivion Wing, grab a shield, and then swap into our Tentacruel, hopefully catching a Nature's Madness once again, which is huge for us. And these Poison Jabs, they are double super effective, but at this point, they've debuffed our defense. We're going to respect the Grass Knot, as Grass Knot probably would take us out with that debuff. Now we get the farm down, and let's see what they've got in the back. They come in with a Rhyperior, and of course, Scald going to hit for double super effective damage. Scald grabs a shield. It also debuffs their attack. The opponent tries to make a combo play, but we read it like a book. We swap back into Yveltal. They go for Oblivion Wing. It does some decent damage, but it's not going to put us into farm down range for the Rhyperior. And honestly, they probably can't even get away with going for a Breaking Swipe. They're going to have to full send a Rock Wrecker to get the KO here, because Breaking Swipe will just not be enough damage. So the opponent is going to go for the Breaking Swipe. That's not enough damage. They don't get the debuff either. I think maybe if they debuffed our attack, they could have gone for a Mud Slap farm down, lived the Dark Pulse, but unfortunately for them, they don't get that debuff, and we take that game. Into next battle, we're going to see a Dialga in the lead. So of course, we definitely want to just stay in this matchup. We've got 2 Pokemon that really can't do any damage up against Dialga at all in the back, and they have very low stat products in comparison. So definitely going to shield. At this point, since we've landed the Dark Pulse, we can probably commit to a full Sucker Punch farm down. I'm not too familiar with the Master League, but that's the play we go for, and they're going to come in with a Kyogre. So they're going to go straight for the Oblivion Wing here. Oblivion Wing is going to connect. It still doesn't do that much damage. We swap into our Ferrothorn, and they've got Enamorus in the back, so maybe should have swapped into our Tentacruel there, but I guess I don't really know what sort of Pokemon people would pair with a Dialga and a Kyogre. So Enamorus, unfortunately, one of the Fairy types that Ferrothorn is going to struggle against, just because they do of course resist the Bullet Seed damage. At this point, we are actually going to shield so we can grab the final shield back from the Enamorus, but still they can overfarm massively in this matchup if they shield. So we swap back into our Yveltal. They commit to a full Fairy Wind farm down, allowing us to make it to the Oblivion Wing, but it doesn't get the KO, and that is really unfortunate because at this point I think they've probably got back-to-back flies. So we're going to come in with the Ferrothorn, force them to throw their energy straight away. The opponent does go for the fly, it gets the KO, and they do have a second one already loaded. So this is going to do big damage to the Tentacruel, and now it's a race. Can we outpace them to a return before they make it to a hard-hitting charge? And unfortunately not, we get there, but the opponent wins CMP. Origin Pulse easily takes out the Tentacruel, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But into the next battle, we're going to see Rhyperia in the lead, so this is fine. The opponent's going to safe swap into Primarina. We're actually going to stay in because they're on Waterfall there, so not taking huge damage as they would have done if they were running Charm. Now we swap into our Ferrothorn, gonna tank the Hydro Cannon there, and we're actually going to over farm here, and they're able to make it to another charge boost. So at this point, we're actually going to shield this. I'm not so sure about this, but I mean, we have seen Rhyperia in the lead, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much if we go down a shield, because, of course, if they come back in with Rhyperia, we're going to deal huge damage here, but the opponent makes a very nice catch there, catching the resisted Power Whip onto Togekiss, but now we can just come in with the Tentacruel, and things are still looking very fine for us. We are going to not bother throwing a charge move. Scald maybe wouldn't quite get the KO from this range. Honestly, I have no idea. But either way, we are going to go for the Scald now, going to undercharge it. That way we can still go for the Poison Jab farm down. Probably just going to throw the Scald straight away. No, go for one Poison Jab, throwing on good timing. Scald is going to be shielded. It gets the debuff to their attack, which is very nice. We can now fire off the Dark Pulse. They're probably going to no shield this because we do have a Grass and a Water type Pokemon in the back, but at this point, the damage is done. We can go for another Dark Pulse. It looks like we might have thrown on CMP there. The opponent doesn't even bother shielding at that point, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, a Veltal mirror match, but the opponent is not best buddy boosted, so we should be winning CMP here. We're going to go for that Oblivion Wing straight away. The opponent doesn't bother trying to make a catch or anything. At this point, we are also going to no shield. The opponent is going to go for their own Oblivion Wing here, and again, we should be winning CMP. We're actually going to go for a Dark Pulse, just in case the opponent tries to make a catch. From this range, Dark Pulse would get the KO anyways, but if they swap into like a Steel type Pokemon, for example, then of course going for Dark Pulse would have been better for us. But unfortunately, they do get the farm down there because they didn't throw. They're able to maintain switch advantage, but we're going to come in with the Ferrothorn. Bullet Seed gets the KO as they were on pretty much 1 HP, and they come in with a Xerneas. So could this be another double Fairy backline? We're going to go straight for Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon does huge damage to the Xerneas. And at this point, we are going to let the Ferrothorn go down, probably reading that it will be double Fairy in the back, and the opponent's actually running a Kyogre instead of a second Fairy type. And unfortunately, whilst we are going to resist the water damage here, this is nowhere near as comfortable for us as if we kept our Ferrothorn alive. So can we still win this game? We're definitely going to shield this, as the opponent is going to bait with a Surf, which is unfortunate. But honestly, at this point, with the waterfall damage, Surf probably puts us into Geomancy farm down range. So we're going to go for the Scald. Scald doesn't get the debuff to their attack. They probably banked a charge move there, so at this point we probably have to no shield, but Moonblast probably would take us out at that point anyways. We do get the farm down, but of course again Kyogre gonna win CMP, and what move do they have? It's gonna be a Thunder. Thunder gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So going into the next battle, we're going to see Yveltal into a Zacian. Now this is a little bit more tricky for us, especially because Zacian probably, well, it's not probably, but it might be running Wild Charge. We're going to swap anyways into Ferrothorn, trying to catch either a Play Rough or a Wild Charge, and they actually go for Wild Charge there, which pretty much indicates that they're not running Close Combat, otherwise they would have just thrown the Close Combat. But again, hard punished by Yveltal. We've seen already 2 Flash Cannons, not going to do much damage at all, and they can go for a huge Sucker Punch farm down. So definitely not ideal for us. Flash Cannon number 2 does put them into the red health range, but again, an uncomfortable Sucker Punch farm down for our own Yveltal here. But we do win CMP. We go straight for Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing is going to grab a shield from the opponent, and we still got 2 shields of our own. The opponent full sends a Focus Blast there. They then swap back into Zacian. And at this point, we're actually going to no-shield this. Let the Yveltal go down. They go for the Wild Charge. We can now come in with our Tentacruel. And unfortunately, it looks like we just got denied a Poison Jab, which definitely isn't ideal. But they go for another Wild Charge, and they're able to make it to a 3rd Wild Charge. So we're going to have to use all of our shields here. And at this point, we can go for that full Poison Jab farm down. They've got Rhyperia in the back. So if Scald is enough damage to get the one shot, we should have this game wrapped up. But unfortunately, even up against a Shadow Rhyperia, Scald just barely not enough damage to get the KO. They can farm up to the Rock Wrecker, easily take out the Tentacruel, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But going into the next battle, we're going to see a Kyogre in the lead. So last time it was Double Charm. This time they're going to swap into a Zygarde. And I think this should be a pretty good matchup for us, assuming they're running Crunch and Earthquake. Apparently, a lot of Zygarde users are on Outrage nowadays. I don't really know because I don't play in the Master League. But it looks like we're going to try and catch an Outrage onto Ferrothorn. But it just ends up being a Crunch. And as well, they drop our defense. So definitely not ideal for us in the slightest. We're still going to no-shield this. And the opponent then full sends the Earthquake. So not on Outrage. outrage at all. Probably could have just stayed in with Yveltal there, considering we know they have Kyogre in the lead, and Ferrothorn is our best answer to Kyogre. So honestly, maybe not the best play there. Maybe should have just stayed in and wait to see what they threw before we swapped out there. But either way, we can go for a huge Sucker Punch farm down, coming out with a ton of loaded energy. And they do have a Fairy type in the back in Primarina, so we still got a chance here. Tentacruel can do pretty well here up against the Primarina. We're going to go for the back-to-back Oblivion Wings here. Second one is going to grab a shield, and then the opponent swaps straight away into Kyogre, reading that we're going to swap out as soon as we've thrown that second move. At this point, we're going to shield this up. The opponent is going to go for a Surf Bait once again, so not ideal for us, but they might not expect a return. Of course, we are purified. Maybe it's a bit obvious, but either way, we full send the return. The opponent does not shield there, and we're able to make it to a Scald. Now, this is resisted damage. Can it get the KO? It actually does get the KO there. Opponent probably thinking they'd live that and get off another Surf, but unfortunately for them, because we get the KO, we can now go for a full Poison Jab farm down, taking out the Primarina, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, you can see Rhyperior in the lead, so once again, a fairly neutral matchup for us. Of course, if they do land the Rock Wrecker, that's going to do huge damage, but we're going to call the bait, and it's just a breaking swipe there, so huge call. We can now fire off the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is going to be shielded by the opponent as well. They don't even get the debuff with that breaking swipe, so at this point, we're now going to shield, and the opponent baits a second time there. At this point, we're still fine. We can go for another Dark Pulse, and we should be able to take this in the 2-shield scenario. The opponent going to double shield this. They will fire off a charge move. Surely they go for the Rock Wrecker this time. We shield, and it is the Rock Wrecker. So now we can probably go for a full Sucker Punch farm down, coming out with still a decent amount of HP, and they've got Primarina in the back. They swap into their Kyogre, and they're going to instantly concede the match after seeing our Ferrothorn, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, you can see a Ho-Oh in the lead. So honestly, I don't have a clue who wins this matchup here. I know Ho-Oh obviously has very hard-hitting charge moves, so we're definitely going to shield, respect the damage. They go for a Sacred Fire. They don't debuff our attack, which is very nice. We're going to go and fire off Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing doesn't quite get the KO there or put them into Sucker Punch farm down range before they'd make it to the next charge move. So we're forced to throw a second move there. At this point, we probably let the Yveltal go down. Nope, got a double shield here. Make sure we maintain alignment. And let's see, the opponent's going to come in with their own Yveltal, so this will be very difficult to deal with. Since our Yveltal, of course, has a significant HP disadvantage, and as well, they've still got a shield. Now, we are going to see the opponent's going to throw just before we make it to the next charge move, so they do have a farm fairly well there. Oblivion Wing gets the KO. We're going to come in with our Tentacruel because we can at least deal some neutral Poison Jab damage, but honestly, this Oblivion Wing is going to do a lot of damage here. It does get us fairly low. We're already into the red health range, so we're just going to go straight for that Scald. Scald will get the KO, and the opponent's going to have a Zarude in the back. Now, unfortunately, this is not looking too good for us. If we can grab a shield here, then maybe we've got a chance, but it's very unlikely. The opponent doesn't shield. We don't get the debuff to their attack with the Scald. And I just don't see a chance of us winning this. Even if we do land a Flash Cannon through the shield, it's not going to get the KO from this range. And you can see, whilst we do live 2 Dark Pulses, they're just going to outpace us to the next charge move. So at this point, we fire off the Flash Cannon anyways. Flash Cannon grabs that final shield, and they can, of course, just fire off a charge move. Honestly, they probably could have just committed to a full Violet farm down, but either way, we're not able to take that win. Now going into possibly the final battle of this video, leading into Kyogre, the opponent's going to safe swap into Zygarde once again. So last time, we did try and catch an Outrage onto our Ferrothorn. Let's see if we play this any differently. Going to go for the Oblivion Wing, and we are going to stay in this matchup this time around, which I don't mind. We're going to shield, and it is just the Crunch once again. So I don't know if the opponent would bait there if they were on Crunch and Outrage. So we're going to swap anyways and catch the move onto our Ferrothorn once again there. Honestly, I mean, it might be the case that Zygarde, even with Crunch and Earthquake, still beats Yveltal. I don't know. I don't play the Master League, but I still feel like we probably should stay in that matchup there. But either way, swapping into Ferrothorn, we go for Power Whip. Unfortunately, still going to have to throw another Power Whip to get rid of this thing. This thing is ridiculously bulky, but Power Whip number 2 gets the KO. They come back in with Kyogre, and because we overfarmed, we will make it to another Power Whip, which is very nice, and it does end up grabbing a shield. We're going to come back in with Yveltal, go straight for Oblivion Wing, and then possibly swap into our Tentacruel to catch the charge reef here. But nope, going to stay in with Yveltal, and we're going to shield this up as the opponent goes for the Surf. And let's see, the opponent's going to swap into Primarina, and this is perfect for us. We are down a shield, but it probably doesn't matter all that much. We're going to go straight for Return. Return might not get shielded at this point, but it does actually get shielded by the opponent, so not ideal for us. But we should still be bulky enough to live this charge reef. They go for Disarming Voice for some reason. Both Hydro Cannon and Disarming Voice are going to be resisted. Hydro Cannon is just a better move. Now we're able to make it to the return after getting a full Poison Jab farm down. It puts them into Sucker Punch farm down range for Yveltal, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.